Brett was over in South Africa doing a Sinbad episode, and he met the commandant.
Well, I was asking you off air before we got on because he's a good friend of mine, and I lived with him, not with him, I lived beside him for a couple years over in Europe. Luke Poirier, Rambo. I was always surprised that Luke didn't stay around longer. I just thought the world of Luke. You know, plus he was like you. He got these great big arms. He's a really good looking guy, and a really good worker. You know, it just kind of shocked me that when he got out of the business, he didn't stay longer. Of course, he had a great run in Europe. So to take nothing away from that, he had all those championship matches in Europe. But I was surprised he didn't stay longer because he seemed like a guy Vince would love.
You know, we once they broke Kurgan from us, we went on our own. We had Vince Russo had asked us, he said, y'all come up with a name and you know, we're going to push you as a tag. Well, we're going to try you as a tag. You know, we were the tag team, but we were going out on our own away from Kurgan, away from Don Callis. So we came up with the name Armageddon. We had one match against the Quebecers, and it never went anywhere after that. But they brought us up to Dory's thing when he was having the dojo up in Stanford.
At the warehouse there?
Yep. They brought us up for that, and you know, we got some promos, and you know, worked with Dory a little bit, and I just figured, you know, that we were going to come back as a tag team. And then he called me, and somewhere between that time, and said, "Yeah, man, they just let me go." And I heard that he told me he was going to do a tryout for WCW, and I don't know whatever, but you know, I didn't realize. I knew he had been in Germany, and somebody had told me he had a little stint in WWF at the time before, but I look back and I think he was there in 84 or 85. Now, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize he'd been even in the business that long. But no.
He had all the championship matches. You know, he was the champion for both years I was there, the overall champion.
You
had your tournament champions, then you had your heavyweight champion. He was the heavyweight champion. So anybody they'd bring in, you know, they bring in, you know, some great stars from Japan, from WWE, from WCW. He worked with all of them. And Drew great houses. I mean, he was really over and a really good worker.
Yeah. Oh, he was a really good, and he's 6'5", you know, 270. Great technical worker. He could really, you know, technical wrestling. He could do it all. But he was so over with the guys that I think that's how he got his job, because from what I understand, the original Truth Commission was me, Kurgan, and Mantar, Mike Halleck. And Mike had been over in Germany, and I don't want to get too far off in it, but the gimmick was, I think Brett came up with the idea, maybe not, and Jerry, you might know different from this, but the way it was explained to me was Brett was over in South Africa doing a Sinbad episode, and he met the commandant. Robin Smith was an actor over there. And I think they kind of juggled this thing around a little bit, and maybe Brett came back and told Vince. But anyway, I think Owen was the one that actually, I don't know why or what, we went down to Memphis to do it for a little while, and Mantar was with us. And when we left Memphis, he didn't come with us. But I think maybe Owen had been over there, you know, and knew Luke, and said, hey, this guy would fit right in. And so that's, you know, and same deal. The first time we saw him, he did a dart match, and he had hair down, you know, halfway down his back. And then he comes back the next week with us, and it's chopped off. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it was amazing to me just to watch because, you know, I had been there for a minute, and I knew some folks, but at the same time, man, he just walked in the door, you know, Mike and Joe, the Road Warriors, you know, they knew him from Germany. You know, they hey, you know, and first night out, they're taking us out to eat, you know. So he really opened the door for me and Kurgan to kind of slide right in behind him, because he knew all these guys, and you know, everybody that I talked to, said, "Oh yeah, man, he really took care of me when he was over there." Because you were over there, you know the deal.
Mm-hmm.
They would travel in caravans.
Yeah. Yeah, and I worked with Luke a ton of times. I thought the world of him as a person and as a worker. I thought he was terrific as both. And Luke doesn't have any enemies. I mean, he's a good person and a really good worker. He worked with everybody, whatever their style was. I saw him work, with MMA type guys, and I saw him work with big guys. Saw him work with small. Yeah. He was really good to work with anybody, and he always had a great championship match. Those guys had to go a long time. Those championship matches. And he would help them and work, get them through it. And man, people thought the world of him. That's why, and plus he was there a long time. Man, he had a great run. I mean, that was a Hall of Fame run that he had in Europe. It was up there.
It's a shame more people don't know about
and St. Clair and those guys.
Yeah. It's a real shame that he kind of gets swept under the rug sometimes.